Yeah, some people, quite a few are sick in this class, so try to stay away from the bug, guys. Um, Actually, I wanted to just go to 13 and just talk a little bit about the difference between comprehensive and standard insurance. Comprehensive and standard insurance. I'm not going to tell you that this is it, like this is basically, it's probably a bit more complicated than that, but broad insurance, write this down on page 13, only covers named or listed perils. So let's say you have an expensive coin collection, you better disclose that to your insurance company. If you have an expensive boat, right, you better disclose that to your insurance company if you go standard insurance. So you need to like have a list of items that are worth a lot, and they need to know that, right? If you have like a gold, a diamond necklace worth, I don't know, a couple $1,000, let them know. Comprehensive, right, covers all, covers all perils. So named and unnamed, right? It'll just cover all. So that's like basically on the surface the biggest difference between standard and comprehensive. And I would just say it's not worth the money to go standard, like just go comprehensive. It is like my car insurance. They have various deductibles, right? And I wanted to like save money, right? I'm always about saving money. So I'm like, hey, how much would it be if I went from $200 deductible to a $500 deductible? And I would save like $50 a year or something. It wasn't worth it. And with a $200 deductible, when it comes to car, if you collide with like wildlife, like deer collision, if there's attempted theft, all of that there's no deductible on that. If you get a chip on your windshield and it starts cracking, they repair that crack for free. Right? So there's advantages of going comprehensive, or quite often it's not worth the money to go less, right? Okay, so we're gonna go to page 14, and I asked you to work on this yesterday. I don't know how far you got. I will do a couple more. Okay. What's the annual cost to insure an apartment? So AC later, okay? So that word right there for you should mean, okay, this is tenant insurance. That's the coverage. I want comprehensive, good. You're slowly narrowing it down. Which table? How much? Comprehensive. So slowly you're narrowing and narrowing it down as you go. You want a $200 deductible. You want the price before and after tax. We're going to do that. Before and after tax. We'll do both. Okay? So, using the formula, insurance, have that pink chart with you, on you. So I'm going to narrow it down. I need the tenant insurance. 65 grand is right there. And I want comprehensive. So I'm going to grab that 400. I'm not going over, so I don't know. I like to just put a 0 there. Right? And I want that $200 deductible, which means I need to go times 1.10. If I want it after taxes, I need to go times 1.07. Right? So watch what I'm going to do. I will take this chunk, because if I do everything except for the 1.07, I get my insurance cost without taxes, right? So I'll figure that out first. 400 times 1.10 is, you guessed it, that's 440, right? That's before tax. Before tax. Normally I'll ask you one or the other, not both, right? If you want taxes included, you just go times 1.07, and hopefully we get 470.80, right? You can never trust Mr. Dirksen on that. There you go, 470.80. I don't know if you heard in the news, that was last year. There was a lady that she couldn't afford insurance, so she canceled insurance. And a fire broke out in the basement by the furnace. No insurance. So now your house is gone, no insurance, right? They won't pay, right? They won't pay. So try to not risk it. Actually, I would say not even try, like just don't risk it, right? Pay your insurance. Even if you miss, like even if it goes 1 year at a time, every year you have to renew. For me, it's about June something. I have it on my calendar. They send you notices too. Like the company says, hey, it's about renewal time. And usually, if you don't do anything, they just assume you're going to continue. If you want to go with a cheaper deal, you make sure you ask your broker before that time is up, because once you lock in, there's a bit of a penalty for canceling. So you want to like find a better deal before you're renewing. Okay. Ask your broker, right? Don't just assume, just ask. Okay. Next, what is the annual cost to insure an apartment for $90,000 under a standard form with $200 deductible before and after tax? I'm just gonna go after tax. Okay, just to make it a little bit easier to use that formula, right? So insurance, it's still apartment, right? Still tenant. $90,000 standard, $200 deductible after tax. Okay. Something should be screaming right now. Tenant, okay. I think this would be a good entry on your study sheet. Tenant insurance, what's the max you can insure? 75. Homeowners, the maximum you can insure is 200,000. So as you're doing these questions, you're like, I'm over, right? You're gonna have to pay overage, right? You're gonna pay extra. So this is where it's a little bit more complicated. This is on page 14 if you just joined us. So grab your tenant insurance. Right? Grab your tenant insurance. What is the standard, right? Person is trying to be cheap, right? Standard, boom, all the way to the bottom. You grab that number and you grab this number as well, right? You need both. You're gonna pay $359 to insure you up to 75 grand. You're gonna, for every additional $1,000 you want to insure, you need to pay $450 extra for every 1,000 you go over. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that 359. I'm gonna add the extra cost. So somewhere in here, I tend to do it underneath here. I'm gonna go overage. It's the 90,000 that I want minus the 75,000 that is the maximum coverage that is provided by the chart. So you're over by 15 grand, correct? Okay, you're over by 15 grand. So that number goes in here. But please don't add that. Don't, like, a lot of students just leave it like that, and your insurance is like 15,300 and whatever. It's just not realistic, right? So think a little bit. Don't just trust your answer. So we multiply this by a rate per $1,000, okay? Which I'm going to show you one more time. Now you see it, now you don't. Now you see it, now you don't. 450. $450. So you're paying $4.50 for every $1,000 over. You're over by 15 grand. Mr. Dirksen, how did you get the 15 grand? I don't get it. This is the maximum that the chart shows us the premiums for. Anything over, we need to pay extra. So we went 90,000, which is what we're trying to cover for. 90,000 minus 75 is that, okay? Close the square brackets because the square brackets are kind of saying, figure out what's in them first before you do anything else, okay? We want a $200 deductible. We need to go times 1.10. We want after tax. We need to go times 1.07. And if you do this carefully, if you clean that up, you're going to get, hopefully, 501.99. Okay. So I'm going to continue here. Insurance is 359 plus, I will figure out this portion right here. 15,000 times 450 divided by 1,000. So you pay $67.50 extra. Right? And this is still my square brackets times 1.10 times 1.07. So I will add that up. If you just joined us, I told him the AC will happen after. Okay, we're going to practice a little bit more. I know I didn't give you enough room. That's my bad. Right? But really, what's happening is I'm cleaning this up, and it turns out to be that. Can we before we just crunch numbers, let's see, do we understand what's happening here? If this question had only asked for a $500 deductible insurance premium, this is it. Whatever's in the square brackets gives you a $500 deductible. No need to do this step right here, right? So you need to see, is it 200 or is it not? Is it taxes? Is it not? Right? That's what you always have to ask yourself. These two numbers are not always going to be there, right? In this case, it's a $200 deductible. That's why we do that, right? So I don't know if you want to, in your notes, just go times 1.10 above this part, and then times 1.07 above this part, so you understand what's happening. So 426 times 1.10 times 1.07. You can do that in one shot. That's 501.99. 501.99 per year. All of these amounts are yearly amounts, okay? So there you go. So this insurance only covers your stuff, right? So a lot of stuff for this that this person is owning, right? $90,000 worth of stuff, right? But you'd be amazed if you have your own business and you're running stuff from home, you have electronics, you have stuff you need to make things happen, right? It adds up, right? Okay, we're good. Next page. I want you to try this one right now. I want you to try at least question 3 right now. If you're done, keep going, keep going, keep going. But I'm going to give you a little bit of time to figure out question 3. Let's do it together. Then I'll do 4, right? And then 5 and so forth. I probably won't do them all, but I will give you the answers to them, okay? That's question 3 if you need it. Oh, my bad. It's not 3519. 309, yeah. I wasn't looking. Yeah. That's better, right? A $500 deductible means you don't need to multiply it by 1.10. So it's just, you kind of skip that step. If it's a $200 deductible, then times, yeah. So it's either 500, nothing happens. 200, you got to multiply by 1.10. Yeah. Okay. Doing number 5. Home, area 3, 215. Comprehensive, 500 after tax. Doing question 5, you're over, right? Because we're talking home insurance. You're 15,000. You have to buy extra, right? Area 3 comprehensive, all the way to 799, and I'm going to remember the 391 because I max out, right? So 15,000 that I'm over times 391 over 1,000. I would say most of the time on a test, I give you 1 for this, 1 for that, and another mark for this, right? Because there's quite a few things you need to include, right? All right. After tax. So if you do this right, you should get the right answer, right? Let's see. going to show my work because I don't want to just rush, right? Avoid the temptation to just type everything in one shot and hope to get the right answer, right? So I need to pay an extra 58.65 and multiply that by 1.07. So I'm going to add the 799 to this, and I get 857.65. That would be before taxes. We want one extra step. So that's 917.69. Okay. If it hasn't been clicking, keep trying, okay? I'll give you a little bit more time to do the rest, okay? Try a couple more. Before you get to the end, because you need to know this for the last question, okay? One of my neighbors had their basement flooded, right? He had $1,000 deductible. So they sent out an inspector and the adjuster, they call him, and he looks at the damage. He's like, oof, it's going to cost you about 25 grand. So the insurance company often gives you a choice. Do you want a contractor to fix it, or do you just want to take the cash and you fix it yourself? You hire whoever you want, and if you have money left over, that's your you can put it in your pocket. You can buy something else and upgrade. So what insurance companies will do is, if there's a $25,000 claim, they will look at your deductible, and let's say it's 500, right? They will actually take away your deductible, and in this case, they will pay you out, because right, you're basically paying this portion of the damages, and they'll pay you out what is left over. So your deductible, I wouldn't write this down here because you might wonder, like, what is this doing here, right? But this is just a concept to understand, right? When you make a claim, you take that away, you take your deductible away from that claim amount, and you're going to get paid what's left over. Okay, so maybe that should help you answer this last one here. So just read the whole, you got to consider the whole question to answer B properly. Okay, so I'll give you a bit more time. If you're done already the whole thing, just sit back and relax a little bit, and but the rest, you should answer this whole thing. You should be able to do this whole thing before I'm right here. Okay, yeah, I can scroll down. $175 Metro Standard. And my chart, that's 607. Nothing to worry about in terms of overage. You want a $200 deductible. So it's just that. $667.7. Next. Home again. Metro Winnipeg, 250. I'm gonna be over, right? Over 200,000. Comprehensive, $200 deductible after tax. This one has all the bells and whistles right here. This one has everything that can possibly be thrown at you, right? I'm going to do overage right here. Over, very easy to do actually. $50,000 over. Most houses in Winnipeg would be over in this time, right? So I'm over at 50 grand. I'm going to remember that. Take my chart. Comprehensive in Winnipeg, right? So comprehensive in Winnipeg, I go all the way down to 771. And I will also take this 350 with me. Okay, when you max out, you need to remember both of them. 350. Oh, I did a slightly differently, so I'm just going to stick with how I've been doing it so far. So 50 grand, you pay 350 for every $1,000. You want a $200 deductible, so you're going to have to multiply this whole thing by 1.10, and you want it after taxes, so you're going to have to multiply the whole thing by 1.07. It's like a chain reaction. And so then let's clean this up a little bit. 771 plus this. I like sitting. It's much better. Just can't see the numbers. There, 175. 175 times 1.10 times 1.07. So you're slowly, like you're rewriting the same thing, but it gets cleaner and cleaner, right? So then it's, I'm going to add the 771 to it. And that's 946. So I'm going to go 946 times 1.10 times 1.07. Oops. That's 1,113.44. Don't ask me if these rates are accurate. They change all the time. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the insurance has gone up since what happened last spring, right? Because they need to recoup their money somehow, right? And plus, everything costs more, right? I don't know if you follow that. Lumber, labor, like they know how much it's going to cost them to replace something, so they need to charge you more, right? That's why we have inflation. I don't know if you've heard that dreaded word so much. It literally means that the buying power of your money isn't the same anymore, right? What you used to be able to get for $100, you can't anymore because everything costs more. Right? Okay, number 8. Joe has a home in area 2. Area 2, 155,000, standard coverage. Is there a problem with that 155? No, it's good. Standard $200 deductible. And you want to know how much you pay after tax each year. Oh, it's a home. Sorry, I forgot to. That's very important, right? To know which chart to use. So insurance, 155, area 2, standard, 398. Right? 398. We're not over, so we don't have to worry about that. Thank goodness, right? We want a $200 deductible. It's right there. And we want after tax. Okay? So this is really, if you feel like you can just do this in one shot, that is fine. So that's 468, 468.45 if you round it per year. And here's the one I was alluding to earlier. If you make a claim for $6,000, so this is what the damages are. that you need replaced, right? How much will you get from the insurance company? You will get 6,000 minus, what's the deductible in this case? It's 200 bucks, right? Your deductible. They're basically saying, hey, 6,000, well, you'll chip in 200 and we'll chip in the rest, right? So this is the answer, right? How much the insurance will pay you. For me, my deductible is 1,000, right? So I would only get 5,000 paid out. Right? So it depends on what your deductible is. If it's 500, 6,500. It doesn't say, does it? Yeah. I would say find after tax, but also have the before tax, because my key might only have the before tax. Because it's the Pallister government that introduced the taxes on insurance, I think. Yeah. So when they change the taxes, I have to redo all my keys. When they add something new, I have to redo all my keys. Anyway, so this is insurance in a nutshell, guys. I hope you kind of have a grasp on it. So I will give you the EC now. Okay. Oh, let me just see if there's something in here that I may not have. So go to page 16. There's some questions there. These are worth 1 mark here, there, right? It affects you on the test. It does. Why would tenant's insurance be cheaper than homeowner's insurance? Would you be able to answer that? Yeah, only covers the contents, right? Homeowner's insurance, I don't know how you want to do that, right? Covers. Don't do this in an English class, okay? It won't go very well for you. It covers both contents and building. And you would also have to say like the amount is also going to be more, right? Like if you want to talk about the actual coverage would have to be more. What's the difference between standard, also called broad, and comprehensive? I think I talked about this, just some of you weren't here yet, right? Covers named or listed perils. Perils is the same thing as items, right? Whereas comprehensive covers named and unnamed perils. Page 16. That's okay. State 2 factors that affect your annual insurance premium. There are more than 2, but I'll give you. What do you think is going to affect your insurance premium? I need something from the audience. What would affect how much you pay for insurance? We talked about a bunch of things. Like look at the table. Think of the table when you find your value. What are you thinking of? Sump pump, monitored sump pump maybe. But let's go back to the pink chart. Like what are some of the things you look for and in the pink chart that tell you how much you're going to pay? What are the first 4 at the top? Area you live in, correct? Area, you live in, right? That is obviously, right? There's Winnipeg, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4, right? Which are rural areas, or maybe you're a little further away from a fire hall than normal. Okay. What else affects your insurance premium? When you go down the left, what are you looking at? When you're going down the left here, looks like upside down, right? This is the amount, right? The value of your home, right? The value of your home is definitely, okay, value of property. What else? You kept on asking me when to multiply by 1.10, when not to multiply by 1.10. And that depends on your deductible, right? Your deductible. 200 versus 1,000, right? Even though we don't have 1,000, but in reality, that is an option. I know these big buildings, like the rental buildings or those towers, I think their deductible could be 10 grand. Like big buildings, like they have a big deductible. So most of the damages they'll just fix themselves because they don't want to make a claim and then, right, it not be worth it. Alarm system. Smoke free. But these ones are discounts, okay? Discounts. Oh yeah, standard versus comprehensive. How could I forget that? So think of what you like. You literally have the answer right with you, the ping table, right there. It's like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, the type of coverage, right? Type of coverage. Is it standard versus comprehensive? Okay, so that's enough. If you have like 2 or 3, you're good. Okay, what is a deductible? We talked about this in vehicle finance. If I put a multiple choice on this one, I am always surprised, like it's all over the place. So you got to know what your deductible is, right? Is the amount you pay when making a claim, right? When you're making an auto pack claim, think about whether or not you're ever going to be driving for a company as part of your as part of work. If you have some kind of accident record, they may not hire you, right? So think about it too when you're trying to make a claim. It's like, do I repair this myself or do I make a claim, right? Same with houses, right? If you make a claim, your insurance is going to go up for a while, right? So you kind of want to think about, does it make sense? Is it worth it, right? True or false? Increasing the deductible decreases your insurance premium. What would you say? It's a 50-50. And that is actually true, guys. It's true. Comprehensive is cheaper than standard. That's false, right? Comprehensive is more. Under comprehensive insurance, all contents of the home are covered. True. There we go. Okay, we're going to do the AC.